My last name is Wangland.
Who?
Wangland.
The Scandinavian god.
I'm 38 years old, and I've been successful at every job I've ever done, and this isn't an ego boost or an arrogant or cocky nature. I've been successful at everything I've ever done because I have high morals and values.
I'm like a circus freak juggling with my peenie over here.
Because it's pretty simple. If you don't want to use drugs or alcohol, don't use them. I've snorted enough coke in my day, along with other things.
I don't do this just because I love it. I do love it, and that's why I do it. But I do it also to hopefully continue to grow something I'm passionate about and financially make more money.
My stupid wrong SmackDown review from somebody that's never been in the business that doesn't know a fucking thing about it.
When you're with the Big World Order, Richie, what are they, man?
All right.
Welcome to a very special episode of Get My Go. We have a very special guest for you this week. It is the star of Get My Go episode number 32. If you've seen that episode, you know this gentleman. He is Mr. Corey Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be on it.
Yeah. So, you messaged me last night on Instagram. You said you wanted to come on and speak your mind. So here we are.
Yeah, definitely. John, I don't know where we start.
We'll start from the beginning. How did you first, you didn't meet him personally, but how did you first come to know of Mr. John Wangland?
It was the Vampiro Patreon or whatever, right?
He was, when he was doing the show at Vampiro, and, they were like, John was saying, if you want to like send a message and ask Vampiro anything, go ahead. And it was Eli who got in touch with John first. And he was telling me, that was when he had us all fooled. And he was basically saying, John's just like one of us. He's a huge wrestling fan. He's, super cool, down to earth. And I'm like, he's like, you should, message him. And I said, okay. So I did, and I wrote in, question for Vampiro, and he answered it. And by the way, my apologies to Vampiro. I was just fooled basically by John. So, I apologize to Vampiro. I'm sorry for saying the things I did. And, I hope you're doing all right. But anyway, so, and then it was after that, started talking to John a little bit more, and then he was telling me about, this podcast he had, and I think it was Wrestling with Reality at first.
Yeah. And then, so we did that, first episode, well, hold on. So the Patreon ended before that, right? Were you and Eli both part of the Vampiro Patreon?
Eli had wrote in first a question, and then that's when he came to me or messaged me and said, you should write in, and John's real cool and all this, and So, and then it was after, because I guess Vampiro had stopped doing the show with him by this point. And so we, we started talking to him, both me and Eli, and that was when he brought up the Wrestling with Reality podcast and how he wanted to have both Eli and myself separate episodes, but on the Road to Redemption. So, I did, I was on there first, and then he did one with Eli. So that led to, after that Road to Redemption episode, okay, it took quite a long while, but then, I was just letting John know, like, hey, if there's anything that I could be a part of, or do, on your show, I'm like, I would love to, especially anything pro wrestling related.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a couple things, and then eventually he came to me with the segment Pro Wrestling Rundown thing. Actually, it was Eli who came up with that name. So I used it. And the thing with John was no direction at all. Like, he just said, there's, no filter on this, say what you want. So I did, and I had never done anything like that before. And John was not, letting me know anything. Like, he wasn't saying like, maybe you should try this, maybe you should try that, or maybe not do this, or nothing. So that's probably why I sounded like an idiot on there. And, and so.
But yeah, he should have given you guidance, because I mean, this is a guy that's done, probably at that point, he probably had 400 plus episodes under his belt. So he should have been giving you some kind of guidance, but he didn't.
Right. Yeah. So, after those episodes, my biggest gripe with that whole thing was, okay, he told me weekly episodes or weekly segments, right? Mm-hmm. Thing was, he wasn't even doing his own show weekly.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off because I was doing my part. I would have like 3 segments recorded for him to use. And they would go weeks and weeks. And I'm like, asking him, I'm like, when are you putting my segment out? Like, well, buddy, a couple weeks, buddy, or definitely next week, buddy. And he always buddied me a lot, which should have been a red flag right there. Everything was buddy, and all this, and and I really, really just I bit my tongue with him because I didn't want to blow that opportunity that he gave me, but at the same time I'm just like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I mean, why am I doing this and you're not even, producing the weekly shows, and so I found that very, very strange. And it was getting under my skin.
I think at this point, he's got no love for the business or the game or whatever left. And he's really only producing content just to say that he didn't lose this, battle or whatever. He's just doing it to fucking either try to spite us or to give us material for this so that someone is still talking about him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you did, the first thing you did was your meeting with Shawn Michaels. Then you did your meeting with Bret Hart. Was the third one the Undertaker one?
Could have been.
Yeah, so you did a kind of a tribute to the Undertaker when he had his retirement at Survivor Series.
Did that one get released?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. It got released, but it got released a month later.
See, I didn't even know it got released.
Yeah, he even said it came on. It came at the end of one of the shows in December, and John even said, he's like, "Yeah, we've been sitting on this one. I just haven't had the opportunity to put it into a show yet. So it's a bit late, but here it is." And then he put it at the end of the show, and it was a month after the Undertaker's, quote unquote retirement. So it was just like, and he had released shows before that, so he could have put it on any of those ones, but he did not.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. And so, it was just stuff like that. You were just saying, it'd be like a month or two later before, my stuff would get released. And so anyway, kept going along with it. He always had some excuse. Sorry, buddy. Working late. Sorry, buddy. All these excuses, and but definitely this weekend, buddy. So, kept going along with it. Well, I'm like, whatever. So finally, I don't know when did I quit a show? It was like, I think it was right after you guys released, what was it, episode 32 or 35?
How did you hear about that? Out of curiosity, I don't remember. Did John go, "Hey, look at these dicks. You should, get back at them"? Or
And that's the thing. It was Eli who sent me the link. Yep. When John didn't go to bat for me, and Eli did, but I guess, and that's when you guys had told him like it's nothing personal with me, or anything like that. So I texted John. I said, I sent John the link. I said, look at this shit. I said, when we do our episode on Sunday, he was going to do some kind of WCW watch along thing, and I said, let me unleash, on Sunday.
Yeah.
He texts me back and goes, we'll talk about it on Sunday, buddy. So Sunday came, and I said, we still doing the watch along thing tonight? And sorry, buddy, I'm pretty sick. I can't really talk. My voice has gone out, and and that's when I sat there and thought about it for a few minutes. Then I texted him. I said, you know what? I said, I'm done. I quit.
Yeah. Then
he has the gall right after that to say, I understand, buddy. No problem, buddy. Just know, buddy, you'll always be family to me, buddy.
Creepy.
We're all one big family. That's what Brother Martin always says.
Yeah, he sucked John's ass so much. He knows what he's had for breakfast and probably lunch and dinner.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So you did one or more episodes with them, with John and Brother Martin, right?
Oh yeah, we were doing several for. It started becoming like an every other week thing, whether it be a watch along or whatever. It was always random shit with John. It was like, instead of sticking like what the show was supposed to be about, he would just like, oh, we're gonna do a watch along. Oh, well, we're gonna do this, and it's like, okay, whatever. Apparently, you don't really have it together with your show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm curious. Other than the Vampiro thing, what did he put across to you? Like, was his connections, or what did he say was his deal? Like, he knew some of the wrestlers, or he had a big show, or what was he telling you? What was he feeding you?
Well, when I asked him, I was like, "Hey, what happened with the Vampiro, with the show of Vampiro?" Well, Vamp, he's just, he's a dick, and he's, he just, he fought me on everything, and he was never, he wasn't reliable at all, and he was just, this and that, and so, just stuff like that, throwing it all on Vamp, and making bullshit excuses. Yeah.
Did he claim to have any connections with any other wrestlers?
Oh yeah, he said he sat there and did shots with Marty Jannetty at a some kind of wrestling convention or something. He's like, yeah, Marty and I, man, cause I'm a huge Marty Jannetty, and I was like, man, why don't you try to get him on the show then? Oh, well, I've tried to before, and he's just unreliable, and he's messed up, and
I'll tell you,
but
drinking with Marty Jannetty at a wrestling convention, it's not exactly it's not a 1 in a million shot. That's all, so John, it's not that special to do that, but
yeah.
Well, and you see, he couldn't get anybody like even any independent guys that are well known. So what I did, I reached out to James Ellsworth. I actually bought a t-shirt from him because he was selling some on Instagram, and which is somewhere in the mail. James told me, this one person just received hers after like 2 months of waiting. Wow. So anyway, and then, after, I bought the t-shirt from him, I said, hey, James, would you like to be a part of a podcast? I said, if you're interested, I can put you in contact with, John Wangland. And
who? Wangland.
all this. He said, absolutely, have him shoot me an email, for bookings and stuff. I took a screenshot of the conversation, sent it to John, and he's like, oh, awesome, buddy. That's so cool. Awesome. And I'm like, yeah, you need to reach out to him. Fucking 2 months went by. Still nothing, It's like, dude. And Eli's like, man, look at you booking talent, and it's like, dude, I just got you a well-known freaking former WWE superstar who agreed to be on your show. Why aren't you reaching out to him? What,
It just shows more that he's not even really doing the show. Like, he's just mailing it in now to release anything. Although his new logo is terrific.
Oh my God. The strange thing is, Corey, I mean, well before you came into the picture, John used to get some pretty, he used to get guests. He used to get well-known names on the show, and it's like, then he changed the name to Cheap Heat and Cheap Pops, and I think the only guest he's had on is that Boba Fett guy or the Mandalorian guy, the skater.
If you look back, like a lot of the guests that he had was when he was still with me, though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm not. It's easy to do that and say, hey, Dan Severn, whatever. I work with Joe, and Dan probably like, oh, I know him, or Joe works with Conan, and I'm on his thing. So you could name drop and shit back then. But once he was on his own, whose name was he going to drop? His own,
Yeah. So another question I have is, you did some shows with Brother Martin. What do you think of him? And what do you know about him?
Interesting dude.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I had no problem at all with Chris, really. He was a nice guy, he had a good attitude, about stuff. All I know is that he, has this stuttering issue, problem. I mean, which is, that is sad, and he works at Walmart, and that's basically all I know about the guy. Really, never any problems with him as far as that goes.
Did he ever hit you up for any money?
No.
No?
No, he didn't. I didn't even know he was doing that until you guys played the recording about it on your show.
Whether it's $1 or whether it's $50 or $500, every little bit helps, and I'm very, very blessed and grateful for that.
Yeah, I didn't know he was doing that.
So over the past probably 3 years, he's had multiple GoFundMes and Supportfuls and other crowdfunding things, a Facebook crowdfunding, for the supposed back injury that he has. And he claims to have had surgery last March, from what we've been told and from what anyone with a brain can figure out, it didn't happen. I mean, he basically scammed dozens of people for a lot of money. For some people say it was thousands of dollars.
Didn't someone tell us, I can't remember who it was, that really inside or whatever, John doesn't believe him either?
Yeah, somebody told us that John doesn't believe it either. And then I spoke to John. John never brings it up. He always calls us cowards that we don't face him one-on-one. He doesn't seem to forget that I spoke to him on Skype for about 45 minutes last January, and I asked him about the back surgery and the crowdfunding and everything, and you know what John said to me? He said he laughed and he said no comment.
Jesus.
When I asked him if it was real, and that was what he said, and yeah.
I mean, you'd think if he had an inkling like that, you wouldn't want to work with someone or associate your name with someone that you think might be a crook or whatever. But I don't know.
I mean, you can go back, Corey, and you can look at pretty much any episode of Get My Go, and you'll see we discuss his fraud and his scams and everything. And someone we know did a very in-depth look into his past, and there's just a shitload of proof and screenshots and links and all sorts of things. He claimed to have cancer at one point, which somehow he's never mentioned it on any show that he's ever done. But there are a few tweets that he tweeted out before, I think it was in 2018, claiming to have cancer and then claiming to be cured of cancer.
Yeah, he even got a get well soon message from me.
And Bruce Pritchard, yeah. Joe Feeney and Bruce Pritchard wished him well, and Conrad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So another thing about Brother Martin is, Brother Martin has been hot and cold with me. He'll go periods of time where, he treats me like I'm his best friend, and then he'll block me and then ignore me. But, I think it was in December when I was talking to him on the phone, and he told me about, this new guy, Corey Ryan. But he actually said to me, well, it was right around this time that they started using that program to truncate the audio, which it cuts out the dead audio, the dead space in between people talking.
Right.
And I asked him, and it sounds really bad when they do it on their show because John's not using the settings right. So I asked Chris, I said, dude, what's with this program you guys are using? It doesn't sound good. And he said that the reason John started using that is because when Corey Ryan is on the show, he takes so long to finish his sentences and come up with his ideas that John had to use this program. So I was just wondering what your thoughts on that would be.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to say this, but he looks like a mini Stevie Richards reject. So and John, well, you know what, if I could just say this right here and now, fuck you, John. You're a piece of shit. You're a backstabbing fucking liar. And you sat there and you told my best friend, Eli, that, Corey needs help really bad. He needs a lot of help. He's always drunk. He's this, that, da, da, da. It's like, okay, what a lot of people don't know about John is that before we would do a show, he would Skype me and we would just shoot the shit for about 10 minutes. Right. And then Chris would come on and then he would say, all right, we're going to start here in a minute, but hold on, I got to go smoke a bowl.
Ooh.
So he would go get fucking high.
Yeah.
But then he's going behind my back labeling me an alcoholic. Who the fuck is he? Actually, I'm going to talk right to you, John. Who the fuck are you to label me anything? Especially, you're definitely not some angel sent from above. You're more like a piece of shit staying on life, came from above. And, you're just, you're a prick. See, that's where you went wrong. That's where you made a mistake, John, is by saying that shit to my best friend. Because he tells me everything. He screenshots everything if it's about me and shows me. So fuck you, John.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. But
according to John, if you want to stop using drugs, you just stop using them. Isn't that what he said? Something along those lines.
Yeah, alcoholics and drug addicts, just stop.
Because it's pretty simple. If you don't want to use drugs or alcohol, don't use them.
That's his solution. And he claims to be some kind of drug counselor or mental health counselor. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a counselor with multiple degrees.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll just say fuck you, Chris, too.
Yeah. Why not?
P.S.
What about Sunny Salem?
Not impressed.
Not impressed. Did you ever do a show with her?
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
Any kind of interaction with her?
Just actually, yeah, we did do one show. Chris wasn't on this one. It was me, John, and Sonny. It was the I think we were talking about the aftermath of Survivor Series, on how horrible the Undertaker send-off was and all that, I believe. And not impressed. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing about Sunny Salem is she is the workhorse for the Cheap Heat and Cheap Pops feed. Yeah. She's putting out 5 shows for every one that John puts out. So, yeah, we can't really criticize her because she loves what she's doing. It's apparent. It's like it's the opposite ends of the spectrum. Sunny loves this AEW and Impact and she has such enthusiasm for it, and she's putting out lots of shows about it. Where it's John, on the other hand, everything he puts out, he shits on. Whether it's an old WWF show, he shits on that. Whether it's a Nitro from '97, he shits all over that. Anything relating to the current WWE product, he shits all over. It's like, well, why are you doing it, man? Why do you even waste time? You guys always talk about, oh, you need to focus on what matters and stuff. Does it matter to put out, 1 or 2 shows a week, just shitting on everything? And I mean, if you're going to do podcasting, do it on something you love, Yeah.
Basically, once his boy Rob and who else quit on him? What's his fucking name? They were on the first episode, Mike. Richie Reardon. Yeah. Once those guys quit and kind of buried him, and he shut everything down and said he wasn't gonna podcast anymore. I think he meant it until we started dancing on the grave, and so now he has to prove like, oh no, I'm not done, I'm back. But he's just wasting his time. There's no reason. He hates what he's watching. There's no money. There's no sponsors. There's no guests. There's nobody listening, and it's all like geared towards just fucking giving us the finger, and it's fucking funny, man.
Yeah. Did he ever mention any kind of sponsors or any kind of monetary gain?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah.
What did he say about us or Get My Go or Husey or any of that? What did he say to you?
Mainly, he focused on you, Mike.
Me.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
Basically, he said you've been stalking him for months and months, and how you
you're the ringleader.
Like on how like you just won't go away. You always find him, and like he's like, man, this guy Mike Durbin, man, we used to be real good friends, and all this, and then he just became a dick, or whatever he said, and he's like, he's been stalking me, and he's like my biggest stalker right now, and so
it's all because me and Husey corrupted him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with stalking, it's like if you release a show and I listen to it and I clip it and we do commentary on it, is that stalking? No.
I'll tell you what stalking is. Stalking is when you have someone's phone number from a previous business relationship and then you send them a weird text talking about how you died. Yeah. That's a little creepy and stalkish, right? Mike and I got a text from a South Carolina number or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, did you hear John Wangland died? I didn't even respond because I know exactly what the fuck it was,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was his little scam there.
Yeah, it's like him and Chris, they called me the ringleader last week on one of their shows. Whereas when we first started Get My Go, he was saying that Joe and Husey were the main guys, and I was just trying to impress them or whatever it was. Now I'm the ringleader. Now I'm the guy in charge of it. So yeah. I mean, the thing is, if John really knew the inner workings of Get My Go, he would thank me, because there is so much that I cut out of the show, stuff that goes too far sometimes. There's a lot. Yeah, there's some stuff. There's some really harsh stuff that's said, and I cut it out. So, John, you really need to thank me. One day I'm going to send John the raw file of a show, and we're going to see. He's going to see what really is said, and he would know to thank me for editing out certain things. So,
I hope he listens to this one.
Oh, I'm sure he watches. He watches and listens to it. Yeah, I mean, they claim not to. Like Brother Martin always says he never listens to it because it causes him pain. But somehow he is able to quote lines that we said and make references to stuff. So we know they're watching. So
it makes their families cry.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, Martin said that both of their wives cry because of the show. And like, why would you even tell your wife about this fucking show? Did he warn you about us before we did the episode 32?
Yeah, because I got after the episode 32, about a month or so later, Chris, he told Eli or something, like I was still part of the show. This was after I quit, and all that. And Eli texted me and he goes, "Are you still working with John? Are you part of the show still?" I said, "No." "Who'd you hear that from?" He said, "Chris Martin."
Yeah.
So I sent Chris a message on Facebook, and I said, look, I said, I'm no longer a part of the show. I want absolutely nothing more to do with this shit. I said, I'm fucking done. And I said, and if you want to know why, I said, go ask Get My Go and tell John, I said, thank you so fucking much for reaching out to me, seeing how I am. And he sat there and told me, well, we told you to don't listen to their show, because it will get under your skin. And I mean, it did, but I'm looking past that right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, that was Chris's response. And I showed Eli that, and I'm like, look at this little fuck. I said, really? That's his response? It's like, fuck you, man.
Yeah. So you said Brother Martin is always kissing up to John. He knows what he had for breakfast. Like,
you can tell just by the way he, the way he speaks with John and all this, and the way he interacts with them. I don't know. You can just kind of tell he's a kiss ass. And to be honest with you, they act like they're a couple. and they make a damn perfect couple too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I did say that I suspected if they ever went to like WrestleMania weekend or whatever, that they would be rooming together, possibly in a single bed hotel room. That's just my guess.
Oh, probably. Chris wouldn't enjoy that.
Yeah.
Chris is I didn't have anything against him until what you guys just told me.
Yeah.
But but anyway, yeah, those two, they're a perfect match, they're a perfect couple, and I hope that they live happily ever after. And oh yeah, and by the way, John, I want to say this. You talked about in the beginning using the logo I designed for your show. You talked about putting those on t-shirts. I got news for you. If you do without my permission, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
And you will owe me not half. Actually, you're going to owe me all of the money.
Yeah.
So if you even try, then buddy, you're going to have a bigger problem than just people talking shit about you.
Yeah. Which one did you design for him?
Oh, I can't remember because it got lost in my phone or something, got deleted by accident. But I used like a fire background.
Oh, okay.
One of those. And now I notice his new logo. It is probably better than the one I did, but his new logo kind of has that same theme, that I did. But whatever.
Well, they just dropped a new logo overnight. Like now it's a yellow circle with a old school microphone in the middle, which, as Husey pointed out, it's really ironic because none of them use microphones when they record their shows. But they have a microphone in their logo, and it's just the basic stencil font going around the bottom half of the logo. So I think they're on their 5th logo now for Cheap Heat and Cheap Hops. It's like,
That's a lot.
Yeah.
so I was just wondering which one you did. And did Eli do any?
Not that I remember, but he did do a lot of other artwork. I think it was before the whole podcast thing even began with me. In one of the messages that, Eli and John they were going back and forth, and that's when John was like, it's time for you to hear this. You need a lot of help, and it's your lack of artwork or graphics or something that are horrible. And he tells Eli, he's like, you really hurt me and my family. We really never liked you, or we don't, just that kind of shit. And so I think Eli did do some kind of graphic artwork for John. It was actually Eli first that caught on to his bullshit. Yeah, and then when I asked John about what happened, he's like, Eli was way out of line. with his comments and all this and that. And I stayed out of it, But
what were Eli's comments? I don't remember those guys having heat.
Well, this was like through like a Twitter comments or Facebook Messenger. Eli basically called him out because he wanted to know, like, especially after the show that you guys released on John and me and all that. Eli basically was like, where the fuck are you, John? You didn't stick up for Corey. You didn't do this. And then, John's just like, well, Corey, he gets on live video and he yells and screams every time somebody just clowns on him. And so it was like Eli was taken up for me and himself. And it just, and that's when John, I guess, was like, you need to hear this finally, and that's when he went on. And that's when the whole comment about me and him need help and how I'm an alcoholic and all this. And so it was boiling for a while between him and John. And then finally Eli was just like, he finally called him out on his shit.
It's interesting, Mike, because we both know that John would never get loud or angry when someone's clowning on him or leave any voicemails or anything like that.
Yeah, John has left me and Rad Rob some very interesting voicemails. They're very angry and threatening and long and rambling, and they're very interesting. So
they're excellent.
Yeah,
you should insert at least one.
What's funny about people like you, Mike Durbin, is I knew you wouldn't pick up your goddamn phone right now. What's funny about people like you is you want to sit over there for 6 days and go make phony-ass videos with your friends and your buddies and do things. But you might want to think about who you associate with and who they are really deep down under, Mike. I don't know if I'd want to be associated with one of them with their criminal history. Just going to say that to you right now, French. You might want to stop your bullshit, and you might want to pick your phone up and give a call to somebody. Because, Mike, let me tell you, you're going to run your mouth, you're going to do the things you would do on Twitter. You would never say that shit to my face for 10 seconds. So go ahead, Mike. Keep being pathetic, man, because that's how you're being right now, man. You're pathetic, dude. You're 40 years old. Grow the fuck up and get a life. That's what you need to do, dude. You want to call me? You know my phone number.
Yeah, they're good, man. It's just strange that Brother Martin's been saying for a while now, the Get My Go guys, that crew, they're going to devour themselves and turn on each other. And he keeps saying this. And you know what? It has not happened yet. But the opposite is true, is that everyone except Martin, everyone that's worked with John, it's either they just silently left him with what's the Simple Man or his other friend, Mr. Maxon. It's like those guys have just kind of just, I'm sure they're friends with them still in real life, of course, but you don't hear from them on the shows anymore. And then there's other people that, just like yourself, you were there, you're not there now. Rad Rob, Richie left and gave birth to Get My Go. Thank you, Richie. He came back, it seemed, and we haven't heard from him in a month now. So yeah, Brother Martin is like the only dumb, loyal follower of John. So, but for some reason, we're the ones that turn on each other. No,
I'd imagine Martin would be the type of guy to follow David Koresh back into the burning house.
Yeah,
or pour his own glass of Kool-Aid with Jim Jones here.
Yeah.
Well, you guys had asked me if how I could tell, he was sucking John's ass and kissing it and all this. Well, I listened to the show. It was like episode 33 or something. It was when you guys mentioned that John made a comment and you guys played the audio of or something like the only reason he keeps Chris around is because he feels sorry for him.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and I know Chris has to know that already. He's had to.
I don't think so. I think Chris is so. No offense to the guy, but he's so dumb that he just doesn't. He can't see the truth. Yeah, John has told both me and Rob privately that the only reason he didn't get rid of Martin is because his dad told him, Stan Wangland, number 13 in Brazil, he told John, what would Jesus do? Jesus wouldn't, cast this guy aside. He would help him. So
there was even a video of John talking about how shitty Martin is and he's going to fire him and you suck, Martin, and all this stuff.
Shut up, Christopher. You suck.
And Chris has seen it and just like brushed it aside. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
blind.
exactly.
It's blind faith. So
speaking of people devouring each other, I mean,
so Corey, what about your future now? You told me in a message a few weeks ago. You said you don't think you'll ever do podcasting again. It seemed like your spirit was kind of broken by John and the way he treated you. What do you think is going to happen now with your future in podcasting, if any?
I really did enjoy, my segments that I was given, even though there was no direction or anything, and for the simple fact that John just let me, sound like that. And I feel like for an entire year, he only kept me on there to make me look like a fool and an idiot. And that's what gets me the most. I don't know. I mean, if there is my friends, a couple of my friends have talked about, oh yeah, I'm going to start a podcast and you can be on it. It's like, dude, you don't even have the equipment or anything. I know that they can get it, but a couple of my friends, they talk a lot and they never do shit. So, I don't know, if I'm offered to do anything, I would definitely be interested.
Because it seems like Eli might be interested in doing something. I know he was asking me some questions and stuff.
Yeah, Eli's pretty dead set on wanting to start his. I'm past, all that stuff with, with you guys and everything. We're cool now, but if someone came to me and said, hey, would you like to do this or that on a show or something? I would give it a shot, again, with the proper editing and, as long as, nobody's going to sit there and be nice to me, to my face. And then I find out later that they're talking bad about me and all that, it's just kind of like that stuff. Like, I don't want to set myself up basically, for that. And I really, really thought John was a real good brother. I thought it still blows my mind, the things that he said, because he's a very good actor, apparently, because he had me fooled and blind for about a year. And I honestly did not see that coming from him.
You know what? I just remembered, didn't I say, or one of us say on one of the shows, Corey Ryan, welcome to the team. You'll be on Get My Go and month or something like that. I think we did.
Yeah. I'm not one. I don't really have any great advice to give anybody in podcasting. Who am I? But the one thing I will say to you, I'll say it to Eli, and I'd love to say this to Sonny Salem most of all. You can do your own thing. You don't need someone like John to, use you. John is using Sonny Salem to bolster up his just to make it look like he's doing something. The fact that they're all on the one feed. If you look at it, like I said before, she does 5 shows for every one that John does. So it's making their feed look like they're very active and into it, when that's not the case. Like, I wish Sonny Salem had a way to contact her and just tell her, Husey is actually the biggest advocate for Sonny Salem between us. He's always saying that, she could branch out on her own and do her own things because, nobody's really doing an impact show, not that we know of,
or being the elite or whatever.
Yeah. And it's just like, she probably has bought everything that John has sold her, So, I mean, there's ways like Brother Martin used to do his own show by himself. He used to be on Anchor.
Go do something else for yourself, man. Go back to Anchor.
There's ways to record your own podcast and then put it out by yourself. I've never done that. I've always had great people like Vince Russo, Joe Feeney to guide me and to release my stuff. But it can be done on your own. You don't need a John Wangland to manipulate your career or your product.
Yeah.
To manipulate your product.
Whatever you decide to do, or you and Eli or Eli on his own, just it's a good thing they're out from under that poison umbrella, basically.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, that's what happened with Rob. Rob got away from him, and he's doing fine. You know.
Yeah, Rob's a great example. I mean, that guy, Rad Rob, has. I mean, he's put in the work. That dude has. He's an excellent audio editor. Now, I mean, every time he puts out a promo clip, like a video clip, I see his skills improving each time. It's repetition, Corey. You got if you're into it, you just keep doing it, and you gotta just don't worry about what people say. They're gonna be critical if they hear it. They're gonna, you're gonna hear criticisms of it, but you just gotta either blow them, either cast them aside or just take the constructive criticism if it's in a constructive way, and just do your thing, man.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Conrad, because no matter what someone says to him on Twitter, he just goes, "All right, man, thanks for listening." Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, it's just I think it'll have to kind of come naturally, like when I feel like I'm ready to, get back in it. But for right now, I'm good. I'm okay. So so hopefully, there will be a future in podcasting for me. So yeah.
Well, Corey, we want to thank you for coming on Get My Go. It's been nice to talk with you and hear your side of the story. Do you have any public profiles you want to plug, or are you trying to keep everything private for now?
Yeah, pretty well. If people want to go follow me on Instagram, the dude 8634 or something like that. I don't know, just type in Corey Ryan and you'll find me. but yeah, right now I'm trying to lay low and trying to keep things as private as possible.
Yeah. Okay. One quick question. Tonight it's Elimination Chamber. Will you be watching?
Oh, snap. I forgot.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
So by the time this drops, by the time this episode will drop, Elimination Chamber will be over. So give us a couple quick predictions on the main events.
For the SmackDown side, I'm going with KO. For the Raw side, I so badly want to say Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, you love Jeff Hardy, right?
Yeah, but they are burying the shit out of him. I don't know. He may as well go to AEW with his brother. I don't know why they even keep Jeff Hardy around. They're not pushing him. They're not putting him over anymore. So I guess I gotta say Drew McIntyre for the Raw side.
Okay.
Doesn't look like that title's leaving him anytime soon.
Well, Corey, we thank you again, and you're famous in Get My Go lore for telling your Shawn Michaels story. For you told the story of when you met Bret Hart. I've also met Bret Hart.
Yeah, he's kind of quiet.
Yes.
Then I think about he's been through a lot. He's lost like his whole family pretty much, and so. But he is a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you my Bret Hart story. Since you told the world yours, I'm going to tell you mine. So, Joe, do you remember when he put out like a soft cover book when he was still with WCW?
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, it sucked. It was basically just a photo book with a few short paragraphs in it. So he puts out this soft cover book. It was after he got kicked, and I think it was after he retired. So he puts out this book, and then I think it was 99 or 2000. I see that there's a book signing in, I think it was Oak Park, or somewhere down south, the South Chicago suburbs. So I saw it, and I was like, oh, I got to go meet him. I've never met Bret Hart. He's my favorite wrestler at that time. So this was back in the days before GPS, before, Garmin's. So I'm thinking, how am I going to get to this place, right? So I had to go on mapquest.com and I had to print out directions on how to get to this bookstore. I think it was Borders Books. Maybe it was Barnes & Noble. I don't know. But it's at a bookstore. And, it's an hour and a half south. And I get in my car. It was a Friday during rush hour. And I get, I'm going on the highway and trying to look at these directions. And finally I get there. And there's a line around the block to meet Bret Hart. So I get out. I'm waiting in line.